Okay, this is going to be the introduction to modeling part 2, and I decided with this video that I'm going to demonstrate how to model a peanut butter container. And my goal for this video is I want to demonstrate to the beginner how you can use the tools that I've discussed in previous videos to create, maybe a more complex object. Now, of course, depending on the level of skill that you have within 3D modeling, a peanut jar may not be complicated to you, but as a beginner, it may be something that can seem challenging. So, the goal is to try and demonstrate how to model something that could be considered complex for a beginner. Unfortunately, I was thinking of having the reference sheets, using reference sheets, but I'm a bit concerned about copyright issues. So what I'll do is when I'm finished actually modeling the peanut butter jar, I'll take a screenshot and then leave the screenshots in the description so you can use those as reference sheets. Okay, let's get started. So the very first thing is, before I start modeling, I always like to analyze the object. And I've got the peanut butter container in my hand, just analyzing a bit. Just do a quick analysis, just so you know, okay, roughly about what it looks like, sort of where you'd have to make maybe cuts and insets and extrusions and stuff like that. And okay, let's get started. So first thing is first, always start with basic shapes. I already know that this peanut butter container is cylindrical in shape. So I'm going to start off with a cylinder, as that's the most appropriate object to start off with. So I'm going to select the cylinder and I'm just going to draw it out in the grid, and I'm going to go ahead and extrude it up like such. Now I'm thinking, since this is a beginner tutorial, I'm not going to go into high poly modeling. I'm going to keep it a low poly peanut butter container, and for now I'm going to go ahead and just drop down the height segments to 1, and the cap segments I'll leave to 1. As for the sides, I'm thinking maybe 12 or 8, since this is low poly. I'm going to go with 12. This is meant to be a low poly peanut butter jar because this is a beginner's tutorial, so I'll start off with that. Now I noticed that it's got a bit of a bevel coming towards the bottom, so I'm going to go ahead and first convert this to an edible poly. I also want to change the wireframe color and the object color so that I can see things a bit clearer the way I like it, like that. I'm going to go ahead and hide the grid for now. I'm going to go and take this bottom piece and I'm going to scale it down a bit so I can create that bit of a bevel. Now what I'm going to do is going to take this face and move it down. Okay, and then I'm going to create, and I'm going to think probably the best thing to do is create an extrusion and just say okay to that, drag it down a bit like such. In fact, I got a better idea. I'm going to insert it very, very slightly, maybe something like that. Then I'm going to extrude it up like such. And then after that, let me just check something. Let me go to my front view. And then I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can select them. Yep, I'm going to select that. Drag that up just a little bit like such. Yeah, that looks fine. Then I'm going to pull this face a little bit higher to maybe something like that height. I may also adjust the bevel at the bottom. I think it's a bit too much. To maybe something like that. Okay. let's check what else we got. So then we're gonna have, looks like another inset happening, but this time it's gonna happen on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude this face. Working. Why has it done that? Extrude this face. Sorry. Like that. Come on. Extrude that. There we go. Don't know why it moved like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and move that up to about there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and select on all these faces, extrude in a local direction, and just move it slightly in like that. Change my, I'm going to change the shaded from realistic so I don't get any of those shadows. Click on OK on that, and then I'm going to go ahead with all of these selected. Let's see if I can try select them all. Okay, I'm just going to have to select these one by one. This one now, okay, select all of these. Go back to the front view, move these up slightly like that. Okay. Oh, did I move that by accident? Let's just check. Hold on a second. Let me just undo that and make sure I don't have this selected or that selected. Go back to my front view, move that up just a bit like that. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and extrude this. Actually, first I'm just going to drop this down a bit. I'm going to grow my selection. Drop that down just a bit like such. Then I'm going to go ahead and bevel it. I want to bevel it maybe quite a bit, so it may need a couple, so I'm just going to drop this down. Why has it done that? Okay, hold on. Let me go back to my front view, and I think it's causing some problems because it's got that. Okay. What I recommend doing is actually deleting all of these edged faces. So I'm going to just take all of these edged faces and I'm going to press Control and backspace. That's going to remove the edged faces, but it's not going to delete the face. Okay, let's continue. Let's go ahead and try that again. So let's go ahead and bevel, go to the front view. That should fix that problem, and it has, so that's all good. So maybe drop this down a bit, maybe add another one. So bevel it in such, maybe another one. Oh, my bad. Another one, and then maybe change that to something more like that. Maybe adjust the height a bit like that, something like that. Okay, let me just quickly take a look at what I have so far. This is low poly, remember, and I'm noticing that there's a couple of tools that I probably should have explained in previous videos, but there's so many tools to cover, it's hard to cover them all in one video. So I think I'm going to have to start explaining things as I go along. Remember, this is low poly, not high poly, so I won't go into, I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. Okay, now I'm going to go for the lid. The lid is also a cylinder, so probably the best thing to do would be to keep this as simple as possible. Go ahead, turn your grid on by pressing G on the keyboard. I'm going to drag out another cylinder, make sure that it's set to 12 sides, and I'm going to once again change the color, and what I want to do is I want to align this to this object. So there's another tool that I haven't explained before, so I'll have to explain it now. The align tool, very useful. Well, I may have explained this, I'm not too sure. But click on make sure your object is selected, click on the Align tool, and click on the object you want it to align to. Now I want it to go to the center, but I want it to go not the Z, I don't believe, not the Y. Let's just see, maybe just the X position maybe. Let's try that. No, let me go actually for top view so I'll make that a bit clearer. The Y position, yep. Okay, and then I'll just move it up. I'll go back to my perspective view. May want to make the lid slightly bigger. Let me just see. No, that should be fine actually. I'm going to convert this now to an editable poly. Go back to my perspective view. And now, this lid has grooves in it. Now, I'm wondering if I should add that in or not, since this is a beginner's tutorial, and I'm thinking I'm going to leave those out since this is it. I want to keep this as simple as possible. Okay. But one thing I will do is I'll go ahead and create an inset on the top. Very, very small inset to about that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a bevel, but this time I'm going to bevel inside. So I've just pressed right click to reset those values to 0. I'm going to change the height so it goes inside, and then just adjust the bevel slightly like that. And I think that will do. Okay, press. Okay, let's take a look at our peanut butter jar. So there is one more thing that we can do. It's not necessary, but if you look at the bottom of this jar, it's got a bit of an inset as well. So I'm going to go and hide the grid by pressing G on the keyboard. I'm going to go ahead and inset. I'm just going to turn my wireframe mode on. I'm going to change the amount to something about around about there. Then I'm going to do a bevel inwards like before, just resetting my values. So going inwards and a little bit like that. Maybe change the height, make it a bit less. Okay, something like that. I'm going to inset this face now. Quite small, something like that. And one thing before I continue, I want to select all of these faces. The way to do this is hold down the control key and left click on the faces you want selected, and this will select multiple faces at once. I'm just going to drop this down a bit. Now, is that what I want? No. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of the edges, press and hold shift and left click on the edge next to it, and that's going to select the ring. And I'm going to go connect some segments. I'm going to go for 2. I'm just going to drag these down, actually with this selected. So see if I can select that one. Gonna have to select this segment by segment. Okay, let me just drop this down a bit like that. Then what I'm going to do is just select these two, select these ones, drop that down a bit. Then last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and take this face and drop it down like that. And one more thing, I'm just going to bevel this one. Maybe the height to about there. It's going to have quite a bit of a bevel. Maybe just the heights, adjust the height slightly. I think I'm going to end it there. So let's turn our wireframe off. We can see we've got a nice beveling happening on the bottom side, which isn't really necessary, but I just wanted to demonstrate how you could do that. Turn the wireframe back on. Okay, one more thing with the lid is I want to... Now here's another handy tool, which I haven't explained yet, I don't think. You can actually isolate different objects in the viewport to make things easy to see. And to do that, there's two ways. You can either click on this icon which says isolate, or you can press Q on the keyboard That should work. It's not working at the moment. Sorry, you meant to press Alt and Q on the keyboard to isolate that if you want to use that hotkey. I'm going to select this face. I'm going to inset it about that amount. Let me just double check. Yeah, something like that, maybe a little bit more. And I'm just going to delete this face. Okay, and then to unisolate it, you can either click on this or, which is probably the best way, click on that icon there to unisolate that, if that's even a word. Okay, so there we go. We got our lid, we got our peanut butter jar. It's low poly, it's not super complex, but it is a peanut butter jar nonetheless. One more thing that it may be, okay, maybe it will, okay, look, smoothing groups, right? Some of you may know what that is, some of you may not. If you look at this object, I'm going to try very quickly to explain smoothing groups. I'm not sure if I'll demonstrate how to do them in this video because I want to keep this as simple as possible. I don't want to overload anyone with too much information at once. Notice how you can clearly see each face of this cylinder. You can see each face. The reason for that is because this face, let me select it, this face and this face are set to different smoothing groups. And it's going to be quite difficult to explain this without actually introducing you to smoothing groups, so I'm not going to go into too much depth, but just think of it as this face has a different number to this face, okay? And they're not in the same number, so it's different. That's the simplest way I can explain smoothing groups very quickly, so don't worry about smoothing groups now. I'm definitely going to have to make a video about that to go into more depth. But as you can see, we have our low poly model, peanut butter jar, and hopefully this has helped you to understand, at least especially if you're a beginner, to understand the basics of modeling and how you can use the modeling tools to create all sorts of shapes. So I'm looking at maybe releasing a smoothing groups tutorial soon, just to clarify that, and I probably will use the same model to demonstrate that, and hopefully that will clear that up. And once I'm done with this introduction to modeling series, I want to release an unwrapping series which will show you how to unwrap your model. So hopefully this has been helpful, and thanks for watching.